Continuously evolving the training techniques, training tools, different mechanisms, knowledge. They're keeping abreast with all the IMO circulars, with all the model courses. Everywhere training is evolving. But the proof of the pudding is in eating it, and that's where we are having serious issues. Where the chief officer says cadet is no good, master says chief officer is no good, and likewise on the engineering department. So what is going wrong? What is going wrong is what we need to try and find out, and if we can crack that, I think then we can focus our efforts to bridging that particular aspect. I saw from your previous meetings you have tried to address the gap as it were. But is the gap only in training? Are the management companies responsible partly for the attitude or lack of correct attitude on board the ship? Are the employers responsible for it? Do you need to only train the seafarers? Do you need to only train the senior to junior? Should there not be further interactions between the managers? Should there not be further interaction between office, shore staff and ship staff? Why is it always that guy is wrong? Are we not doing some introspection internally? I'm going to leave you with these questions because I don't have the answers. What I'm going to try and do is point out these issues that I see it from the management side of things after taking one step back. And the first person I need to criticize is myself. It's very easy for me to criticize the ship staff, the trainers, the seafarers themselves. But first of all, if I get my own house in order as a manager, as a ship manager, as a crew manager, as a management company, as a ship owner, try to roll that all into one. And then see how we can address this problem. Because unless we address this problem, we can have hundreds of these meetings and we'll continue to have them in future as well. So is it the money? I don't think it is the money, because money is never enough. One always aspires, and it's good to aspire for betterment in salaries, etc. But we have to be careful, and the learning that we have to give down the line to our mentees or people who we are expected to train is that while it is good to be ambitious to try and get betterment, that ambition should not turn to avarice, and which is what is being seen very, very frequently today. The ambition turns to avarice. $100, $200 at the junior level, people are switching companies. Maybe it's an exception, maybe it's not a generalization, but it's exceptions that drive the perceptions. So we need to try and get more value instilled in the minds of the people that $100 does not get you far. The risks for that $100 are far higher. Nobody sits down and explains to the lad that you have been working in this company for 10 years, for 5 years, and you're going for $200 there. You need to acclimatize to the new systems. Systems are different. It may be that through no fault of yours, for your lack of awareness of that system, there could be an issue which could set you back. Nobody is doing that training, as I see. To meet my immediate need, I pay him that $200. But as an industry, I'm probably doing disservice to that particular lab. Yes, if there has been issues and he's making a considered move, and he wants to go through all your training and familiarization processes, then it is good. He's making a career move. But if he's doing it for $200, it's not a career move. It is an avarice move, avarice-driven move. So that is something we need to look at. Should we also look at the approach in which the way we treat our people? If somebody goes on board a ship, he has a disagreement with the chief engineer, as a second engineer, whatever it is, and he says, I'm not able to get on with this guy, I need to go home. What does the crew manager do? He looks at his budget, he says, shit, pardon my expression, ladies, my budget is going to get busted, I'm going to charge you to a two-way airfare. Now, a guy has been with you for 5 years, 10 years. He's had a chemistry problem with his senior. We are not looking into the root cause as to why that difference is, disagreement is coming up between the junior and subordinate or senior and junior. We don't address that. Our immediate objective is to how do I cover my budget? Because if I relieve this guy in one time, how the hell am I going to cover the airfares and things like that? And if I am taking him off because the chief engineer has complained about him, chances are I'll have to give him severance pay. So it gets more driven by money rather than actually trying to address the problem. So these are things for management to look at, not necessarily the trainers forum here, but I think it's important that we are all joined up to identify what are the reasons where we find this performance gap. One of the other things that I have noted is the lack of professional pride. We see that there is a serious lack of professional pride today. I mean, looking at the people over here, I would say the average age here would be about 35, 40. So an average experience of 20 years or so. I mean, I'm adding to raise the level of the age. 20 years ago, if our, or 20 years or 30 years or whatever it was, at least most of us can say that, if our captain, when we were junior officers, said, Tandon, you don't know what the hell is going on, we would be so depressed and nervous. We would go and find the thing, what did I do? What happens today? This is a reality that we are facing today. I have had video recordings and audio recordings of a conversation between a chief officer and a cadet. It was recorded by the cadet on a ship. The master had asked the cadet to lower empty lube oil drums into the boat and in return get some liquor. So the master, chief officer and cadet were involved. The cadet was asked to implement it, and when it came up,